does the average public, when you're sharing that message out there about safety, does the average public realize that, yeah, there may be room between you and the emergency scene, but what happens if that responder stumbles and goes out on the roadway? Who here's changed the flat tire? Anybody? When you change that flat tire, how many times do you drop that lug nut that's rolled behind you that you just reach for? What about that in an emergency scene?
What do you think? You're the coolest guy in the parking lot? And then
If we're going to put out traffic safety, we want to put out traffic safety that is actually safe. A trash can is not good for
what do you think?
traffic
You're the
control.
coolest guy in the parking lot? And
How about this scene here? I know what the responders are doing. They're trying to get to the scene fast. But are they getting to the scene safe? Does the public know what you're doing when you're coming at them with your emergency lights on, bucking traffic? How about the second police officer that's coming into the scene here? Does the public expect somebody to just come barreling through the scene like this? We have to be smarter than this. We have to look at this and think about our response and think about doing proper traffic safety.
In Philadelphia collapsed. Check out the
and the public, as the public, we need to be smarter too. If you see a bridge on fire, we might not want to drive over.
He also noticed the road was
you think, boy, that's a big dip there. Yeah, shortly after that is when the bridge collapsed.
Really happened.
These are the numbers. These are federal highway numbers. Typical year, 10 law enforcement, 4 fire and rescue, 20 towers. These are the numbers that we report from respondersafety.com. There's at least 2 emergency responders struck every day in the United States. At least 2, okay? Property damage crashes, injury crashes, or fatality crashes. Emergency responders struck and injured every 2 days. An emergency responder struck and killed every 6 days. Is that good? Is that good enough? 1 is too many, right? We have a database on respondersafety.com. Did I mention respondersafety.com? All the resources on there are free. Tell a friend, go to that site, sign up, take classes. Reports struck by. How many times, anybody here have a piece of apparatus or anybody struck at a scene? If you do, put it in there. Whether it's a mirror strike, whether it's something big, major or not, we want to track that data. We have no way of tracking that data right now other than through social media and other than news reports that we get sent to us. It's a voluntary, it takes you 4 or 5 minutes to fill out the form. You can remain anonymous if you want to, but it's important to share that information. So these are the numbers. 2019, there were 44 United States emergency responders struck and killed. One of those was in Maryland. 9 fire and rescue. 2020, 46 struck and killed. 4 fire and rescue. 2021, 65. And during that year, towards November, somebody asked me, how many responders have been struck and killed this year? And I said, 47. And their response back to me was, well, that's not bad. Really? After I throat punched him and said, well, that shouldn't have hurt, right? It's, we can't, 1 is not acceptable. That's 1 family that's destroyed forever. Okay, that's 1 community that's destroyed forever. That's 1 state, 1 organization. We got to do better than that. 2022, 51. And we're, I have people celebrating that we only had 51 killed this year. That's not good. I don't care if it went down from the year before by 14. That's still 51 deaths that should not have happened that were caused by D drivers. Drunk, drug, drowsy, distracted, just plain dumb. 46 killed in 2023, including 8 fire and rescue. And so far this year, we have 20. Again, that's not good enough. The only good enough example is 0. In the past 10 years, 7 of the 10 fire and EMS workers that were struck and killed were from rural or suburban fire departments, not running on highways. Okay? So while we think that we don't have to worry about traffic incident management because we don't have any highways in our jurisdiction, local roadways are more dangerous. As a responder and working for the Pennsylvania Turnpike for 25 years, I responded out to a lot of big crashes. I felt more comfortable on a highway because I knew traffic was probably going to come at me in just one direction. What about local roads? Where are they coming at you? They're coming at you every direction. We have to do better. This is the totals. 107 law enforcement officers struck and killed since 2019. 43 fire and rescue. 43 deaths that did not have to happen. These are just the deaths, okay? These aren't the injuries. How many people people do you know? You might know responders that have been struck and injured that are still fighting the fight, that are still surviving, but have not fully recovered. This is a map that I make up that's posted on respondersafety.com. This is since 2015, every responder struck by fatality. These are only fatalities. Look at the East Coast. Look at Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia. That's where most of these crashes are happening. That's where most of fatalities are happening. Why are we not doing more? Why are we not implementing TIM teams? Why do we not have TIM training? I did a class yesterday, probably had 25 people in the room, and I asked them, same thing I asked you here, how many of you have had TIM training? And one person raised their hand. That's not good enough. Okay, we need to get everybody trained and on the same page. Is it good if you're playing a sport or you're in a fire and you're being backed up by a crew that doesn't have any training? Would you feel comfortable? So why do we expect that on a roadway incident? Building the team. In Pennsylvania, in 2016, we said enough, and we started a statewide traffic incident management program. But this is where we're at in Pennsylvania. The area in green is where we have formal TIM teams. The area in blue is where we've had discussions and some attempts at making TIM programs, but nothing that I would call established. The area in red, probably a third of the state, we have no traffic incident management programs. Guess where we have a lot of struck-bys happen? The area's in red, because we don't need to have traffic incident management training because we don't have any highways. So, the statewide program meets quarterly. We have a lot of efforts formed in 2016. We have a training committee, technology committee, public education outreach, legislative affairs, TIM task force, and towing and recovery. You do have TIM programs in Maryland. Timber program, Baltimore, Washington metropolitan area is very good. Kevin Fox from Maryland Chart, very, very good proponent of TIM training and providing for TIM. But we need to get the rest of the state on board. We need to get all of you on board to talk about how we're going to work together for responder safety. I know we have no volunteers, we have no time to train, we have no things, but it's too important when we have responders getting struck every day. You can take online training. You can take, or I'm sorry, this is in-person training. This is the 4-hour federal highway course. I have taught this course 450 times in the past 5 years. It's a 4-hour course. Many times I've taught this on my own time. Since I retired a year ago, I've taught this class 26 times on my own time, my own expense. I now realize how expensive Pennsylvania Turnpike tolls are now that I don't have a Turnpike Easy Pass. But then I realized, well, I'm paying those tolls, and that's going for my retirement benefits, so I'm good. But every time I get on the Turnpike, I call my old bosses up saying your road is very dangerous and I'm paying too much. In-person training. We do in-person training. How many of you have done a tabletop exercise using Matchbox cars and maps? Anybody? Now, I have Matchbox car money. I don't have Hot Wheel money. We also established a online training program in Pennsylvania using Train PA. We've trained, close to 16,000 people online. Look at the numbers for your state. Pennsylvania, we've trained 39,155 responders. Maryland, you don't have as many responders there, you train 10,000. But look at the numbers there. Is training only 47% of your responders in traffic incident management good? Is that acceptable? Is that good enough? In Pennsylvania, 66.3%. That's not good enough. To me, that means I have 34% of people that aren't trained out on the highway. It's not acceptable, especially when the training's free and available out there. I am the second vice president of the Cumberland Valley Volunteer Firefighters Association. Anybody here heard of Cumberland Valley? For your information, you go down to our stand. Is the expo still open? A couple more days? We have a stand down there. You could join Cumberland Valley. Show special, $5 a year. Or you could join them 5 years for $25 if you're looking for a bargain. Not getting any bargain. I'm hoping some people are bad on math, but we need you to join us. Cumberland Valley is who runs the Emergency Responder Safety Institute. It's a committee of the Cumberland Valley Firemen Association. I'm the Deputy Director of Training for ResponderSafety.com. Jack Sullivan is our Director of Training. We have 48 training modules available for free that you can take online. We also have resources that you could share out on social media to get the message out there. It's important for you to take advantage of that. Again, if you take 10 modules online, you don't even have to leave your home. You can take it on a phone, and you get your National TIM certificate. This is something new that we're coming out with that I'm proud to say I work on every day. We're doing virtual reality tabletops. So we're trying to use technology and trying to engage some kids and trying to do that. When we talk about windshield scene size up, we're able to show a windshield scene size up. What do I see when I get there? We all know that when we pull up to an incident, we see this. That just gives us part of the picture, right? We can't see the whole incident, so we have to get out on foot and do a 360-degree size up. We change the weather. We can change time of day. We can put emergency lights on. We can take emergency lights off. We did this training for the Pennsylvania State Police, and we showed them this picture first. And we said, where would you park your cruiser? And of course, you know where they're going to park the cruiser, right up by the incident scene, right? Is that the smart place to park, right by that passenger vehicle there? When we did that, then we would light the vehicle on fire and say, are you still going to park there? And it's like, well, we'd back up. Well, you can't. Fire department's there. You can't back up, so now you're stuck. What are you going to do? You have those conversations doing your training so that you don't have those problems doing a real-wide incident. Does that make sense? Different roadway configurations that we could do as well, rural roadways as well. Pennsylvania, we're building a training facility for traffic incident management. This facility is going to be built within the next 2 years. It's going to be located in New Stanton, Pennsylvania, so off of Interstate 70. And it's a $32 million facility to train emergency responders to work safe on the roadway. We're going to be able to overturn cars, trucks, buses, do a lot of things, and we're going to have Maryland, we want you to come up and use the facility. Be able to use it for free to train the responders. This is a design of what it's like. The initial thing they're going to build is that high-speed test loop. We're doing electric vehicle training. I'm doing training there. The facility's not even built yet, but we're doing training there every month, hands-on training. So if you want more, penstart.org is the website for that. So good enough to the enemy your best. Ask yourself these questions. This is on responder safety. What's call volume? Do you respond to more? Somebody shout out the answer. Do you respond to more crashes or roadway incidents or more structures? We got 40,000 people in the room, and all of you are quiet because you're shy. We're responding to more crashes? Yeah, we're responding to many more crashes than we are roadway incidents. Who responds? Do you allow personal vehicles to go to the scene? If you're a rural area, it may still allow personal vehicles to go to the scene, but do we have a plan for that? What's your responder roles at the incident scene? Do we have response? Do we have roles for our responders when we're going to a structure fire? This person grabs a hook, this person grabs a can, this person does this person does that. But why don't we do the same thing if we're responding to more roadway incidents? Why don't we have somebody designated to put out the traffic control on our vehicle? Are we teaching our drivers how to block and only block a lane or blocking 2 lanes at a roadway incident and doing an effective block? What side of the apparatus are we keeping our emergency roadway safety devices on? Are they on the driver's side? And if we're parking on the right-hand shoulder on the driver's side, am I now standing in traffic to try to get cones, flares, signs, whatever else I need out of that vehicle? Or can I park and have some stuff on the other side of the vehicle? What's your SOP or SOGs for, who here has a SOP or an SOG for a roadway incident? Good. But out of the room of maybe several hundred people, 2. Okay? Who here has a pre-plan for structures in your community? For buildings, right? We pre-plan the hell out of every structure we have, but yet we're responding to more crashes, but we don't pre-plan where we have crashes at. We don't talk about how we're going to set up traffic control at this difficult interchange. What's your PPE policy for your company? When do you put your vest on? Do you put it on? Do you have it on your gear and take it off if you don't need it? Or do you put it on if you need it? Who here knows the name? Anybody here know the name Walter Wagman? Walter Wagman was a Pennsylvania firefighter. Very popular, was a assistant fire chief, Buchanan Valley Fire Company. They were a company that did not keep their vest on their gear. They would put it on as needed. How many of you have had practice doing one of your training nights to put your high-vis vest on and take your high-vis vest off? Probably nobody, right? How many of you have practiced putting your air pack on and taking your air pack off? Again, we're responding to more roadway incidents. Why are we not worried about it? So they get dispatched. Buchanan Valley Fire Company gets dispatched for a crash on the roadway. Wags jumps in the front of the apparatus. He's riding the officer, puts the coat over his lap, puts a high-vis vest over his lap, puts his helmet over his lap. They go racing down the roadway. As they're going to the call, they get more report. There's injuries. There's entrapment. He thinks, well, I guess I better get ready. Takes the seatbelt off, puts his bunker coat on, puts his vest on. As they're making a left-hand turn at 7 miles per hour, the pocket of his coat gets caught on the door handle. He falls out of the rig and hits his head. 5 days later, he's removed off life support over a stinking high-vis vest that if I would have put it on before I left the station and been ready to go, I'd be alive. We got to do better. What's your stock of traffic control devices? Do you carry any traffic control devices on your rig? What's the most frequent crash locations? What's the current challenges and what training is provided? Talked about riding assignments. You know, I go to a lot of firehouses. I go to a firehouse all across the country, and I always look at their riding assignments. And we always see that. This person is responsible for the rescue tool. This person is responsible for this. This person is responsible for that. But I never see anything about traffic control or doing the scene size up. If you're the incident commander, are we telling the other responding units that are coming in where we want them to park? I like this statement there. Life's just as important in a rural area as it is in an urban area. 45% of all fatalities occur on rural roadways. How about this? If you get hit by a vehicle at 20 miles per hour, 1 in 10 die. At 20 miles per hour, I'm sorry, at 30 miles per hour, 5 out of 10. And at 40 miles per hour, 9 out of 10. When you're working a crash in your jurisdiction, how many people are passing you at more than 40 miles per hour? Probably about 100% of them, right? Because no matter what the speed limit is, we're going faster than we need it to. How about here? So what's my plan? Think about what your plan is for these type of incidents. How am I going to block? What am I going to do? Do I need to put out traffic control before I get to the incident so that when they come around the corner and they see me, all of a sudden they're not slamming on their brakes and crashing? SOPs or SOGs. Again, very few people have SOPs or SOGs for roadway incidents. We had a firefighter struck and killed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania back in 2021. And we said, I asked for a copy of the SOP or SOGs because I was asked to do an after-action review. And the copy of the SOPs that they gave me for a roadway incident was 20 years old. Have things changed in the past 20 years? We need to do better. Have we practiced setting up a team? Is this something we could do on a training night? Practice setting up a incident scene. How many of you practice this? You know, we practice dragging hose, we practice pulling off hose on the rigs, but the majority of our calls are for roadway incidents, so let's practice setting up safe roadway incident scenes. Any issues with this? Look at the firefighter standing on the traffic side of that rig without high vis. Do you see him? How many responders are going to be running across the traffic way here? Is this a typical crash scene that we have? They're not accidents or crashes. How about here? Have you passed by a crash scene like this, where everybody's standing around, nobody's paying attention to traffic? How about here? If we're going to do a block, we need to do an effective block. We need to get to the call safely and drive with due regard. We get there quick, right? But if you don't get there quick and safe, is that a problem?
Yo!
Whoa,
He just crashed.
Planning. Do we pre-plan incidents on the roadway? We need to do more of this. We need to talk about how we're going to respond. We need to make sure that we're paying attention and we have our blocking units in place so that we'd rather our vehicle get hit, even though it's $1 million, than one of our personnel get hit. Bounced off the side of that rig there. How about here? This is Grand Rapids, Michigan. They use a dump truck that they got donated for them, so they respond and take the safety with them out to the scene. Do we need to start doing more of this? Yeah. Technology. Current systems, we're using drones at crash scenes. In Maryland and Pennsylvania, soon in Delaware, we're using UAS for crash reconstruction because it cuts down the time that a police officer is on the scene investigating a crash that they have to be out there. So in Pennsylvania, we bought 8 drones for the state police, and it's reduced the clearance time from the roadway from 2 to 4 hours to do the investigation down to 25 to 45 minutes to take over 3,000 photographs. Is that better? What does that do for us in the fire side? It reduces our risk of being out there and getting hit. This is something that I used on the turnpike. I had a photo kite. It was a tethered drone. So just showing you this, that gives you an instant view. It's very easy to use. They have one down on the expo floor. But this is the view that you get from that. You get a live video feed back. There's a very windy day, so it moves around a little bit, but if it gets too windy, it will come down on its own. This is my backyard at my house. Can you see what's out there? This was a training mission. I'm able to see the deer, so I'm able to use this for infrared. I've used this twice before for people that bailed out of crash scenes that ran from the police. I was able to go down there, set this up, and say, there he is hiding behind a tree. Is that important? How many times have we had people ejected from the side of the car, we can't find them? Having a tool like this, is that possibly helpful? Safe quick clearance. See what you think of this safe quick clearance here. This is Tennessee. If anybody wants to try this, I could try to go out and see if somebody will light a car fire. We could. So the vehicle that's on fire is going to be pushed off the roadway using the push bumper. Is that a good method for fighting the fire? Got the vehicle off the roadway, right? And I asked him why. This was sent to me by the guy driving that front truck, and he said, let me know what you think after you see the video. And the guy that did this is a good friend of ours, John. I won't give his last name, Sullivan. But he said this to me, and he called me, what do you think? And it's like, I think you're an idiot. And he said, would you ever do this? I said, no. They had this policy in effect for 3 months. They burned up 3 vehicles, so they no longer have this as a policy. But, think outside the box and think of what you could do, but also use some common sense. No shortcuts to safety. Be seen as a scene. How about this scene here? It's always great to have a scene near some drugs, right? That are amazed at your magic tricks you do at the scene, pulling out these collateral cones. These are pylights, so electronic roadway flares. This is a product that is very good. They sequence up with each other. These are a different brand. These are pylights. So again, they sequence up to each other and makes it easier to see at the scene. They're much chemical flares are fairly cheap, but what do we worry about chemical flares for? We worry about the smoke. We worry about lighting a fire on the side of the roadway. Who do you see better? 2 guys in high vis, 2 guys without high vis in this photo. See the 2 guys in high vis. Just to show you that the Pennsylvania State Police, who have a policy that they wear vests on the roadway, actually do wear vests. This was a video shoot that we did, and both of those gentlemen from the Pennsylvania State Police told me for this video shoot, and this was a video shoot for ResponderSafety.com, and I said, I can't use you if you don't have a high-vis vest on. They had over 20 years experience. That was the first time they ever wore their vest for longer than 15 minutes at a time. Is that a problem? I did a training for the Pennsylvania State Police, the command staff, and the colonel was in the room, and I showed him a picture of some of their troopers at a crash scene. I said, where's the colonel? What's wrong with this picture? Oh, nothing. They're doing a traffic safety checkpoint. None of them were wearing a high-vis vest. I said, no, nobody has a vest on. His answer to me for that was, well, we have a policy that we wear high-vis vests. If you have a policy that you don't enforce, do you have a policy? No. And I said the next picture was a horse and buggy over Amish country, and the horse and buggy had some reflective bridle and gear on. And I said, Colonel, I said, do you see that horse? He said, yeah. I said, if that horse knows enough to wear reflective stuff, do you think those jackasses in the middle of the road would know enough to wear high-vis vests? I thought it was funny. He thought it was funny. I got pulled over 12 times on the way home, so I'm not sure if it was worth it. But this is a Pennsylvania emergency scene. Which guy's the fire chief? You know who the fire chief is, right? He has a radio strap. The troopers flashing gang signs. You know the guy with the red vest that's a traffic engineer that has no clue, and the firefighter stand. This is the bad Pennsylvania version of the village people. We have to do better than this. We have to do the right thing. If an old or the Amish guy could wear a high-vis vest, you could wear it too. How many of you have been involved in a formal after-action review for a roadway incident? Anybody? We need to do more and more formal after-action reviews. We're not looking to hang somebody. We're looking to improve processes. When I worked for the Pennsylvania Turnpike, we would do an average of 4 after-action reviews per year. We would publish them. We would share them out. They're public documents, so we're not keeping any secrets. If you travel the Pennsylvania Turnpike, thank you for contributing to my retirement. But you might notice that there's blue signs on the access gates now. We never marked our gates before because we knew where our gates were. After that incident there up in the upper left, we now mark our gates. We had a doctor get on the gate to do an amputation for a very serious crash with entrapment. We thought he was getting on at the Pool House Road gate. He was getting on a Schoolhouse Road, so we didn't know where to let him on at. Was that a problem? Now we mark our gates. This is a 5 fatality, 60 injury crash in Western PA. One thing I didn't know about this scene here was we had helicopters, drones, everybody flying over us. I didn't know at the time that you could, if you had an emergency scene, you could call the FAA and have them put a temporary flight restrictions over your incident scene. Is that important to know? Yeah. We had trouble flying our own drone because everybody else had their drones up. Again, we have the timeline. And this is the fatal crash. You know, if we have a fatal or a serious injury, we try to get them to do a after-action review. Again, not looking to hang anybody, not looking to, we just don't want that to happen again. Make sense? 3 key points, remember, be the voice. Speak up. Get a TIM team established. Get training done. If nobody's doing it, do it yourself. When I retired from the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission a year ago, I wanted to be able to hand out materials. I wanted to be able to go out and do some things, and I didn't have money to do that because the Turnpike wouldn't provide me money and PennDOT wouldn't provide me money. I started my own nonprofit. So I raised my own money and seek my own money. I also work every day with the Emergency Responder Safety Institute because, again, those people, everybody that works for them, does it for free. Good enough is the enemy of your best. Don't settle for good enough. And there's no shortcuts to safety. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you, and be safe. Okay. I'm going out on the other side of the president.
Excellent presentation. I hope everybody takes some of that to heart. And the best thing we can do along our roadways is be safe and watch out for each other's back, because it's all the folks who are on their cell phones or iPhones or got the music blaring and don't pay attention to us. And one accident is one too many.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for your
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Yep. Director Mike Cox for the branding and Chief Robbins. Thank you, sir.
Next out is Director Mike Cox and Steve Brannigan for their Brannigan Award.
Thank you. Come on, Chief Robinson. Chief Robinson, sorry, Chief.
Good morning, folks. I don't know if we'll be as exciting as the last presenter, but I think this one's probably a little more important. So, we're here today to recognize the instructors for the Francis L. Brannigan Instructor of the Year Award. This is sponsored by MIFRE and the Maryland Fire Service Professional Qualifications Board, the MFSPQB. Chief Robinson, president of the MFSPQB and the chief in Carroll County, and myself are honored to present this award each year for those instructors that are selected for their accomplishments while functioning during the previous year. As you all know, the EMS fire rescue organizations here in our state are some of the best in the nation. In these organizations, there exists a group of special individuals that take great pride in their work and quietly go about their duties, always doing much more than is required. Although these individuals are limited in numbers, they are the hardest working, most dedicated individuals who are always willing to accept a challenge. They routinely go above and beyond the call of duty, putting forth the extra effort to make their students the best that they can be. However, you'll never see their exploits recognized in the daily newspaper or on the 5 o'clock news. They operate quietly behind the scenes. They participate in various activities that are over and above what is required of them. This year's award winner is one of these individuals that I just described, a member of the EMS Fire Rescue Service in Frederick County. They hold the rank of EMS lieutenant in their home department. Just 4 short years ago, they became an instructor for the Maryland Fire Rescue Institute. During this time, they have taught more than 2,000 hours. In fact, they have one of the most successful National Registry EMT pass rates of all of our instructors. This is quite an achievement given the national average for passing National Registry EMT on the first attempt is only about 68%. However, this individual's successes as an EMT instructor is not just about their final class results, but rather the steps they have taken to ensure student success throughout their entire program by going above and beyond what is expected of a MFRE instructor. By fostering an atmosphere that is conducive to learning, creating a family-like environment in the classroom, taking extra steps to ensure maximum comprehension of the subject, spending extra time reviewing classwork and practice exams, developing class jeopardy sessions, or even putting on your own mass casualty practical exercises for your class to ensure complete learning is demonstrated. The willingness of this instructor to go above and beyond and achieve what others have not is really, really just outstanding. Throughout their service, they've continued to earn the respect of their peers, co-workers, and fellow instructors by making a conscious effort and commitment to always place the needs of your students, fellow instructors, and the organization above all else. So with no further ado, it is with great pleasure that Chief Robinson and I announce the 2024 recipient of the Francis L. Brannigan Instructor of the Year Award, which will go to instructor Cassie Goodman of the Brunswick Volunteer Ambulance and Rescue. So, Cassie. Come on up, Cassie.
I don't know if Steve White's out here in the audience. He's the president of Brunswick Ambulance. Steve, you mind coming up if you're out there? Thank you, Mike. Cassie, congratulations. Cassie's a member of my station as well, so she's a good lieutenant for us. She does our training and education, so the go-to person. Now I'm going to bring out past President Steve Cox for the Zimbauer Trophy for training.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask Director Cox and Chief Robinson to come out representing state programs, training program, MFRE, and state certification. First, we'd like to recognize last year's winner of the Zembauer Training Award. Last year was United Steam Engine Fire Company Number 3 Incorporated. If you'll come up and receive your plaque, please. Coming up now. Applicants for the Zembauer Fire Training Trophy submit their application with the total number of student training hours and the average per student. The applications are submitted to the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute Operations Section, who validates those hours and then turns that data over to the Awards Committee, and the Awards Committee makes the final selection. This year's second runner-up with 2,005.5 student hours of training, an average training hour of 52.78 hours, is United Steam Engine Fire Company Number 3. The first runner-up with 2,444 total student hours of training with an average of 53.13 average training hours per student, Independent Hose Company Number 1. Someone coming up? Okay. This year's recipient of the Zembauer Fire Service Training Award with 7,615.5 total student hours of training, breaking down to 124.84 average training hours per student, Newmarket District Fire Company. They're coming up. And if you'll back up to the large trophy that they're going to take with them. Oh, me too? goes to them. Thank you, congratulations. Let's give all the recipients one more round of applause.
I will bring Charlie Abrick out for Hall of Fame and Marbury Gates.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Come on out, Rockville. Did you want to say a few words first, sir? Okay, you want to do it that way? Okay. All right. Good morning. I'm going to present the nominees for the Marbury Gates 50-Year Service Award. They are as follows. When I announce your name, come forward. You have a plaque or either a certificate if you were a previous nominee in a prior year. Mary Ann Wareheim. I can't see if she's coming or not. Stephen Winkler, Potomac Heights. Mike Wilkerson, Mechanicsville. Joyce Downs, Mechanicsville Volunteer Rescue Company. George Kennett, 7th District. Peter Woodburn, St. Mary's County Advanced Life Support. Timothy Hammond, Odington Volunteer Fire Company. Craig Harmon, Odington Volunteer Fire Company. Robert Bob Rose, Odington Volunteer Fire Company. Robert Moe Farver, Winfield Community Fire Department. Jack Edward Wagner, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. Herman Schweers, Jr., Level Volunteer Fire Company. Clarence Ross, Jr., Level Volunteer Fire Company. Richard C. Blair, Western Enterprise Fire Company. Thomas Tommy Lawson, Citizens Truck Company. Louis Kaufman, Wheaton Volunteer Rescue Squad. Warren Stevens, United Steam Fire Engine Company. Terry Miller, United Steam Volunteer Engine Company. David Chairs, Queen Anne's Hillsborough Volunteer Fire Department. William Frazier, La Plata Volunteer Fire Company. Okay, and from previous years, we have Robert E. Collins, Potomac Heights Volunteer Fire Rescue. David Lewis, Odington Volunteer Fire Company. John T. Jack Ferguson III, Rockville Volunteer Fire Company. Melvin C. Starner, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. Michael Charles Gist, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. Robert W. Smith, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. William Reeser Wantz, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. David Stair, Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. Malden Miller Jr., Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company. Larry Mabe, Level Volunteer Fire Company. William Bill Hildebrand, Chestertown Volunteer Fire Company. Benjamin W. Kurtz, nominated by Stephen Cox, past president, MSFA. David Rusty Leftwich, nominated by Stephen D. Cox, president of Maryland, past president, MSFA. And Mitch Vach, Jarrettsville Volunteer Fire Company. Those are your nominees, both first time for this year and from previous years as well. The Marbury Gates 50 Years of Service Award goes to. No, that's it. Oh, you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of Chief Craig Lazar, myself, President, and the officers and members of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, we want to welcome everybody and thank all the departments for nominating these incredible individuals that have been serving for at least 50 years. This award was established by the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department and accepted by the MSFA Executive Committee in 1981 to honor the 50 years of service, active service, by one of our charter members, Marbury F. Gates. The initial and first award was presented to Marbury on June 15, 1981, at the 86th Annual MSFA Convention. President Gates served the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department from the day we were incorporated until the day of his death for 70 active years and served over 25 years as our president. So the people before you have been serving from at least 1974. Now, many of you may not remember 1974, but the top grossing movie that year was Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddles. Probably would not be made or shown today. But more importantly, the second most popular movie that year was about a fire in a skyscraper called The Towering Inferno. And that starred Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. And you've got to ask yourselves, do any of these fine individuals, were they influenced by watching The Towering Inferno and hoping to go into a burning building? The average price of a home was $38,000. The average income was $12,900. Minimum wage, $1.60. And you could buy a new car for $3,800. Right. This year's nominee began serving 2 years prior in 1972. He has served his department for 52 of their 103 years. He began in March of '72. Throughout his 52-year career, he has been one of the most active and involved members of his department, both operationally and administratively. He served in every operational role, all the way up to the office of fire chief in 1992. He also served on the board of directors of his department for over 10 years, and to this day is present at most of the board and membership meetings, plus serves on many committees. He served on dozens of committees, to include new apparatus, squad and rescue, and truck, chairman of the relief fund, banquet committee, awards committee. He also served his county association, where he held various offices, including president, vice president, special activities committee, chair of the state 508 committee, where he still serves today. The awards are almost 2 inches thick in his personnel file, but they include top home responder 7 times, firefighter of the year, letters of appreciations from the state, local, county, and federal government, letters of appreciation on major incidents that were days long, unit citations, personal citations, and inducted into the Maryland State Hall of Fame. This member also is known internationally. He helped to create a almost 30-year partnership with a sister city in another country. To this day, brings volunteer firefighters from their country to the United States and from this member's department back to that country almost on a yearly basis. He remains an ardent supporter of the Maryland State Firemen's Association since he joined the volunteer service. Matter of fact, his name is synonymous with the MSFA where he comes from and his county association. He has been especially active at MSFA, including being a delegate for over 20 years, Special Activities Committee, liaison for the state convention for 10 plus years, convention fundraising, ticket collector, and attends every single meeting. This man is also a devoted family man, dedicating countless hours to volunteer service. His wife, son, and daughter have all served in his department and other public safety organizations over the years. He is an example to all emergency responders, career and volunteer, for a life committed to service and dedication. For all his hard work and dedication, the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department is honored to award this year's Gates Award to the man that literally created the award back in 1981, and his name as a captain is on that award for devising it in honor of Marbury F. Gates. Rockville members, if you would please come to attention. Hand salute as we recognize Chief John Jack Ferguson as this year's winner.
So much deserved. Thank you, John. Yep, thank you.
You want to move forward?
No, you fine. Get that.
Right down the steps. Rolling right down the steps when you're done. All right, Charlie, you're doing the individuals now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, as a regular meeting,
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Who we got? How many of them we got?
Thank you. The box.
That's Bob.
Yeah, that's the box. Oh, the box. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hall of Fame's next.
Answer your question, no, it's gone. But the other table's coming in. And it's already dressed out for Hall of Fame. Good. Once they're done with you, get a nice pretty tray. Just saying, you know? Don't get that up for you, that's out of here.
Okay, now for the presentation of the 2024 Hall of Fame inductees. First inductee is James J. Jester, Ocean City Volunteer Fire Company. You come up on the stage to get your hat and your pins. The second is Milton Zepp, Westminster Fire Engine and Hose. Leon V. Vic Whipple, Laurel Volunteer Fire Company. John Jack Hewlett, Odenton Volunteer Fire Company. Philip Rigel, Ridge Volunteer Fire Company. Lori Denbo, Level Volunteer Fire Company. Michael LeCompte, nominated by the MSFA Safety Committee. Charles Murphy Richards, Laytonsville District Volunteer Fire Department. Robert W. Worthington, Level Volunteer Fire Department. And I'll apologize for this name because I think I'll get it right, but if not, I apologize. Chief Joseph W. Ongeloff, Early Heights Volunteer Fire Company. And we have one special election to the Hall of Fame for the MSFA, Robbie Hartsock, Shock Trauma Center.
Just don't put Laurie in the back row.
You can't see her, she's in the front row.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's all right. All right, you done?
Yep.
Bring out our trustee, Doug Alexander, for C. Oscar Baker's Award.
No, the president's going to read. She's coming.
Can't see anybody. What? You just have to hold it. Yeah.
Yep, it's coming.
I can keep going, right? Okay. No, because. Yeah. Now we ready? Good morning. In 2002, Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company created the C. Oscar Baker Rookie of the Year Award, honoring Oscar for his 60 years of active service. Oscar joined the company in 1941, serving as president of MSFA from 1952 to 1956. He was instrumental in acquiring our first ambulance and the property now known as the Carnival Grounds and Reception Hall. For years, it was known as the Farm. Oscar served as our first fire chief for the National Bureau of Standards in 1965. At the time of his passing, he had 81 years of service with Mount Airy, 70 years of active service. It was these and Oscar's many other accomplishments in the fire service that Mount Airy wishes to acknowledge as we present the Rookie of the Year award to this year's recipients. But first, we would like to recognize the nominees. If they would come forward to receive a plaque, if the nominee is not here, if someone from their company could come forward to receive it for them. First nominee is Tanner Yingling from Reese Volunteer Fire Company. Somebody coming? Okay. We'll pass them down to them. They can lay them up there. Michael Eppert from Winfield and Community Volunteer Fire Company. Just pass them down. Jenna Lakin from Jefferson Volunteer Fire Company. No. Mira Patel from Odenton Volunteer Fire Company. Ryan Karen from Ridge Volunteer Fire Department. Samuel Russell from Sudlersville Volunteer Fire Company. Noah Boyne from Level Volunteer Fire Company. Tyler Bagley from Leonardtown Volunteer Fire Department. And Taylor Needle from Winfield Community Volunteer Fire Department. This year's awardee joined early in 2023. They began by jumping and assisting with chores, familiarizing themselves with operations, as well as the members while waiting for the spring training classes to begin. They have completed Firefighter 1, Hazmat Ops, EMT, and Firefighter Survival and Rescue classes. In addition to the time spent obtaining this training, they were on duty almost 900 hours in 2023, even though it was later in the year when they began riding. This rookie also joined the Honor Guard and became active in prevention and life safety by assisting with inspections and education activities. This was all while serving on active duty while stationed at nearby Fort George G. Meade. The Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company is honored to present this year's C. Oscar Baker Rookie of the Year Award to Mira Patel of the Odenton Volunteer Fire Company.
Now we'll do our scholarships, and Susan Mott.
Good morning. Okay, size is a problem. My name is Susan Mott, and I bring you greetings from MSFA co-chair Lynn Hawkins. Joining me on stage today is Barbara McCrae, Claire Leedy, who is supporting us with the Maryland Committee on Trauma, Rebecca Gilmore, MSN from the University of Maryland Shock Trauma, who supports our volunteer education with the Shock Trauma Board of Visitors Scholarship. I have Doug Simpkins, and the MSFA and EMS I missed one, sorry. MSFA Volunteer and EMS Continuing Education Fund is comprised of central funding sources that assist Maryland volunteers offset their higher education expenses. Current sponsor levels are gold sponsorship, $4,000 to $5,000, silver sponsorship, $3,000 to $4,000, bronze scholarship, $2,000 to $3,000. In addition to scholarship, donations can also be made in memory of or in honor of specific members, or donations in a department's name. Donations can be one-time or set up as a yearly scholarship. Funds are added to the MSFA Volunteer Fire and EMS Continuing Education Fund to be awarded accordingly to the number of applicants each year. Available individual department donation levels are Chief, $1,000, Deputy Chief, $750, Captain, $500, Lieutenant, $250. Acknowledgments of donors and their honorees will be made at the annual convention program book and must be submitted no later than April 30th. This year's volunteer recipients bring exciting, diverse backgrounds and futures. Higher education is not a given. Those who chose the path face multiple struggles: time to volunteer, time to study, time to work, family time, and of course, funding. As I read the names of our 2024 recipients and their awards, I ask for those of you who are able to accept your award in person, please come to the stage. If your volunteer is unable to receive this award, could I have a company member representative come to the stage? On your arrival, provide your name in order to receive the correct certificate. Josh Binzel is receiving the is attending the University of Maryland. He is a volunteer for the College Park Volunteer Fire Department and is receiving not only the scholarship from our committee, but the Maryland Committee on Trauma Award. The award given to him from the Scholarship Committee is $1,500. The award from the Trauma is $1,000. Lauren Riverdee, Ellicott City Volunteer Fire Department, is attending the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. She is also receiving the Ladies Auxiliary to the MSFA Award in a total of $3,000. Chloe Goddard from White Marsh Volunteer Fire Company is attending the Notre Dame of Maryland University, and she is receiving our scholarship as well as the Shock Trauma Board of Visitors. Samantha Farron, Prince George's County Volunteer Marine and Rescue Department, it will be attending the University of Maryland and receiving a $2,000 award. Elliot Paisner, Laurel Volunteer Rescue Squad, is attending the University of Maryland and is receiving a $2,000 award. Monica Kim, Hillendale Volunteer Fire Department, is attending the University of Maryland College Park and is receiving a $2,000 award. Nicole C. Gardner, Middle River Volunteer Fire and Rescue, is attending Anne Arundel Community College and is receiving a $500 award. Evelyn Hawkins, United Communities Volunteer Fire Department, is attending Southern New Hampshire University and receiving a $2,000 award. Christina Klobnock, Ridge Volunteer Fire Department, is attending Stevenson University and is receiving a $2,000 award. Noah Guyman from Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company is attending Pennsylvania College of Technology and is receiving a $2,000 award. Congratulations to all the 2024 recipients. Thank you very much.
Second Vice President Charlie Simpson for our Generation Award.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask Noah Guyman, come on back up, please. Maryland State Firemen's Association, back around 12 years ago, adopted what we call a Generation Award. This award generally is there to recognize those families who exemplify a long history of their service to the community through the fire, rescue, and EMS. The minimum time for this award is generally 3 generations. We'd like to recognize Noah, who is actually a 4th generation recipient with this, that the Guyman family from the John Means family, have 14 members of that family involved in the volunteer fire and EMS service. Fantastic, and we want to take and recognize today Miss Jean Means, who from the original generation, that multiple generations from that family have served the Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company faithfully. The members of that family here today, if you can come forward, we'd like to recognize 2nd generation daughter Donna Guyman, 3rd generation grandson Lucas Guyman, 4th generation Noah Guyman. We also have 3rd generation Justin Guyman, 3rd generation John Guyman, 2nd generation John Means Jr., and 3rd generation Emily Means. Wow, 14 people involved in the service. Thank you all very much. While they're getting their picture, I might add that all are extremely involved in the Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company, both running calls or working in the kitchen and fundraising activities. It's what we do, and congratulations to all. We'd also like to recognize the following families as well. That the members of the State Firemen's Association would like to recognize multiple generations of the Clinton Cox Sr. family who served the Huntingtown Volunteer Fire Company faithfully. We have Colin Cox Jr., is 2nd generation. 3rd generation is Danny Cox. And 4th generation is Callie Cox. They are here. Yes. Here, you want this? I don't know if they're here. See, you don't see there. Okay. These awards will be presented at a local meeting in that county or whatever at a future time. Additionally, we'd like to recognize the multi-generation family, 3 generations of the Warren E. Stevens family. With that, 2nd generation Patrick Stevens and 3rd generation Luke A. Stevens, all of the United Steam Engine Fire Company number 3. We have multi-generations of the Lester David Evans Sr. family who have served the Marion Volunteer Fire Department faithfully. 2nd generation Lester Davis Evans, 3rd generation Bentley LeBron Evans. We have multiple generations of the Robert L. Ritchie family who served the Goodwill Volunteer Fire Company in Lanacoming, Maryland faithfully. We have second generation Robert G. Ritchie, or excuse me, Robert L. Ritchie was the first generation, Robert G. Ritchie, second generation, Jennifer M. Ritchie, the third generation, or second generation, and Bison R. Ritchie, third generation. Okay. Multiple generations of the Stephen M. Gibson Sr. family who served the 7th District Volunteer Fire Company faithfully. Members are second generation Stephen M. Gibson Jr. and third generation Bradley J. Gibson. Multiple generations of the Nolan Gallion Sr. family who have served the Levin Volunteer Fire Company faithfully. Noah Gallion Jr., second generation, and Michelle Williamson, third generation. Multiple generations, we have recognized Joseph M. Shrivner family of the 2nd District Volunteer Fire Company who have served faithfully. Second generation Joseph M. Shrivner Jr. and third generation Andrew Shrivner. We have multiple generation family involvement of the Joseph Angeloff Jr. family of Early Heights Volunteer Fire Company. Second generation is Lisa Marie Dare Angeloff, and third generation is Abby Michelle Pop. Okay. Can't see. Yeah. Multiple generations in the family of John Hudson Turnant of Goodwill Volunteer Fire Company, Gerald Charles Turnant, his son, second generation, and Dawson M. Turnant, his grandson. Multiple generations in the family of James W. Barnes Sr., Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Company. The James A. Barnes Jr., second generation, and Robert A. Barnes, second generation. Third generation is Riley A. Barnes and Jackson L. Barnes. Multiple generations again of the Philip D. Starkey Jr. family, Queen Anne Hillsborough Volunteer Fire Company. We have Philip Dennis Starkey Sr., the second generation, Danielle Starkey Rush, second generation, I believe, and Kevin Philip Hayes, third generation. Which one? Okay. Multi-generation family involvement of the Andrew G. Holliday Jr. family of the Neck District Volunteer Fire Company. We have second generation by Brian A. Holliday and third generation Colton A. Holliday. Let's see. We have multi-generation family of Charles Linwood Henderson Jr. served the 2nd District Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad faithfully. Daniel A. L. Henderson, 2nd generation. William Cody Henderson, 2nd generation. Dylan Thomas Henderson, 2nd generation. And 3rd generation is Derek N. Henderson. Thank you all very much. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah, thank you.
You might want to find. I'm going to bring Tim Dayton for Firefighter of the Year, Executive Board Chair, or Chair Member. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, if there's anyone else from the committee that's here, please come up on stage with us. First of all, we'd like to give the certificates for all the awardees for this year's Firefighter of the Year. First one we have is William Rector III. Next one we have is Lauren Ruckman. Next one we have is Eric Voorhees, I think. Then we have Joseph McLaughlin. We have Mark Flock. We have Larry Luke Hemrick. And the last one we have is Noah Bowen. Just to read you a couple things that the committee from his department submitted for his nomination. This individual for the MSFA Firefighter of the Year has been involved in numerous committees, setups, fundraising activities, you name it. There's different activities throughout the department's year. The carnival, another big hit with the kids is the Santa detail for 2 nights. Very active in the call volume within his department. It's a small department, but he is very active in running calls. He has also taken his EMT refresher, specialized training through the county department drills, very active there. And he is also very active in their fire prevention program with the local schools and stuff like that. But the huge thing is he is very active with his junior organization. He conducts drills with them. He helps them, advises them on their meetings and stuff like that. He helps them and encourages them to participate in the other activities within their organization and assist them in their fundraising activities. So this year's MSFA Firefighter of the Year is Larry Luke Hemrick. I'd like to thank the departments that submitted the awards, the nominees, and congratulations, Luke. There's a lot more Firefighter of the Years out there across the state just to have this few nominations. So please go back to your county associations, your departments. We should have 50 or 60, 100 of these things that we're looking through. So thank you again.
Chaplain Long for our Chaplains Award. Stay out here. Okay, I can do that.
It gives me great pleasure to announce that President Smothers recognized that the Chaplains Corps throughout the state does extremely good work for the fire service and busy work and never gets recognized. So he asked the chaplain, Harry Hetz, to write up an award. So the Executive Committee has approved Chief Chaplain Emeritus, Reverend J. Harvey Dixon, and it'll be given away annually. And you can look on the awards page on the website and find the rules for submitting your chaplains for this award next year. We have a clock made to give to Harvey's wife, who was unable to be here with us today, but we wanted everyone to know this new award will be out and advertised, and the first time we give it away will be next year. Thank you.
Might have to come a chaplain to get that.
Okay, I'll train you.
Bob Rose for the Sunny Rose Morning Training Award. Here, here, good. The table keeps moving. Yeah. You want to stick that one on that end? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Bob Rose from the Odin Volunteer Fire Company. It's my grandniece Abigail assisting me today. We'll be brief. I'd like to present the Sunny Rose Memorial Training Award. I just want to read the statement on the individual trophy. John E. Sunny Rose Jr. dedicated his fire career to training others to perform skillfully and safely. All that followed are encouraged to uphold the honor and tradition that Sunny expected from each of his students. The John E. Sonny Rose Jr. Memorial Training Award is presented to an individual who has dedicated the most hours in emergency services training for the award year. And a quote from Sonny that he made shortly before he's passed: "I hope that something that I taught enabled someone to save a life." This year's recipient from the Oden Volunteer Fire Company, Karen L. Willman.
I know. Chairman of our Safety Committee, Mike LeCompte, for our Safety Award. Thank you. Right here.
Thank you, sir. Somebody's, Mr. President, have your glasses? Okay, pal. I don't need glasses, old man. Welcome again, everybody. The Smith-Statham Safety Award is an annual award that's given out for someone who goes above and beyond in their community regarding safety and the safety of firefighters and EMS, not fire prevention. That's another award, but this is for fire safety in your community or within your county or within your individual departments. We had 6 nominees this year, and if you hear your name come up front, Francis J. Raley from the Ridge Volunteer Fire Company in St. Mary's County. Roger Marks from the Wheaton Volunteer Rescue Squad in Montgomery County. Monica A. Penhollow from the Northeast Volunteer Fire Company in Cecil County. Jonathan M. Dayton with the Potomac Fire Company No. 1 in Allegheny County. Robert Cumberland Jr., one of our past presidents from the Westminster Volunteer Fire Company in Carroll County. And the last one is David W. Lewis, who's also a past president of the Maryland State Firemen's Association with the Odenton Volunteer Fire Company in Anne Arundel County. Are they all up front, sir? Almost. Okay, I'll just go over these real quick. Francis Raley, stay right there. Put your hand up so they see you. Okay. Francis, to tell you real quick, I'll give you a quick synopsis of why these people are on stage. Francis, he and other people like Phil and different people in Ridge have been very, very intrinsic with safety throughout their department, and they have done everything they can to make their department safety first. I would say for the past 11 years, their department has had somebody that's been spectacular in safety inside the department, and they're disciplined about safety. And the fire chief said this year that Francis Raley was the top person who demonstrated safety discipline in his department and led by example. So let's give Francis a big round of applause. Roger Marks, put your hand up. Roger has been involved in fire and EMS for many, many years, and is not only his occupation, but for his discipline and safety there in Montgomery County, and what he's done not only for the fire side, but for the emergency medical services side, and how he is led by example as one of our older members, but a person who people look up to for their safety discipline. So let's give Roger a big hand. Monica. Monica, put your hand up. Monica is a legend. Those that don't know Monica, Monica has been a career emergency services person. She has been very, very intrinsic throughout Cecil and Hartford County, Maryland. She's been very active on the safety committee, and she is an advocate of fire and EMS safety and a proponent of safety throughout the entire northern eastern sector of state of Maryland. When you give Monica a job to do, it gets done. She is right on it, and she's well thought of from the shock trauma people all the way down to us in the safety committee. And Monica, we couldn't pick a better person. Thank you. Is Bob Cumberland up here? Oh, God bless you. Okay, I'm looking past you. Sorry, nervous. Jonathan Dayton, Jonathan in Dayton. Put your hand up, sir. Good man. He's a little short. Hard to find him. Jonathan, as most of you know, he was brought up in a fire community and a fire family. He's out in Allegheny County with the Potomac Fire Department. Jonathan, when he was 14, 15 years old, those of us that have served on the committees throughout the MSFA have realized that Jonathan was born and bred to be a leader in the MSFA. And he's also been very, very instrumental in getting out safety as the editor-in-chief of the Volunteer Trumpet now, and what he's done in the past. And when you go to Allegheny or Cumberland, anywhere in that area, or over even in Gary County, if you mention Jonathan's name, they smile, and that means that he is proposing safety and he's an advocate of it. We thank you, Jonathan, for what you do for us. Another past president, Mr. Bob Cumberland, Robert Cumberland Jr. He is a man of, you do not want to get out without a vest on in the road, because he'll come out of his wheelchair and whip you. Anyway, Bob has been a serious proponent, and he's obviously pushed safety throughout anything dealing with the Maryland Department of Transportation and the Cumberland, I think they named it after you, by the way, the Cumberland Valley Volunteer Fire Service. Those who don't know it, they are involved in Delaware and in Maryland, I think Virginia, but I know Pennsylvania, dealing with roadway safety and how it impacts the first responder. And Bob started with this and was, I believe, one of the charter members. Help me out. They named it after you. I love it. In Westminster, and how long? 20? 20 years ago. God bless, 20 years ago. But as I said this morning at 8:30, highway safety has become a really, really serious issue with firefighters and EMS. And the people getting struck by cars, and the state police will attest to this, it's out of control. I mean, like 28 state police cars have been destroyed so far this year, 8 SHA trucks, 16 wreckers. I mean, we could go down the list. That doesn't include ambulances and fire trucks. So with what they're doing proactively and working with different organizations throughout the United States, they have been an absolute asset to the MSFA Safety Committee. And I've heard it from the Delaware State Firemen's Association. These guys are on top of it, and thank you, sir, for everything you do. Give Bob a big hand. The last gentleman he is probably the most intrinsic person I've ever seen with safety. You can't slow him down. Are you older than me or younger than me? I don't know either, but I know one thing. He's an energized bunny when it comes to safety. I said, what are you doing this week? Oh, I can't meet with you. I got to go to New York. This guy, you said New York, right? You're going to New York tomorrow? Thursday. I love it. This gentleman, David W. Lewis from Odenton, Anne Arundel County. David has taken on himself, not only with the Cumberland Valley Volunteer Fire service and what they do in their Council of Safety. But David has been involved with the post-traumatic stress disorders, dealing with stress management. He actually teaches classes here annually. David will come and drive to Ocean City to teach a class for us, or he will drive to Cumberland, or he'll drive to Oakton, or anywhere, Oakland. If you ask David Lewis to come and talk about safety, he will be there. And the committee looked at it and said, you know, David, you're the man for the job. I would venture to say 99% of the time does not get paid to do it, so it's out of his own expenses. So this year we have picked our friend David W. Lewis for the Smith-Statham Annual Safety Award.
I'll get it, Mike. I'll get it, Mike. I'll get it, Mike.
Thank you,
I'll
sir.
return your hand.
Thank you. Stand right, I know you need to get some pictures. Yeah, we need to get pictures. Move up, gotta move up. David, come over here a second. Oh, he's still taking pictures? All right. We had a, here you go, sir. Enjoy that plaque and congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. No, hold on a second.
All right, you still playing?
Yeah, I am. Okay. Robert, pay attention now, my friend. Francis, here you go, sir. Yes, sir. Those of you that don't know this, if you are a member, an active member of the Safety Committee, we chose, and the Executive Committee chose many years ago, not because they're involved in it so deeply and doing it for their communities and in their counties. We didn't think it was fair to pick people that do it all the time. So any member you see up here did not get a plaque. They are really involved in it, as I told you, but we can't reward them for it because they're already involved in it. So do me a favor. I feel bad not giving them something, but give them a big hand for what they do. We're done. With that, we're done. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll go this way. Oh, yeah. Right, past presidents for the next generation.
Parish President John Denver for our Reaching the Next Generation Award. And Parish President Michael Faust.
Good morning. Here to award the first Next Generation Leadership Award. Before I announce the person actually make the presentation, just a little bit on the committee and some of the activities. The idea of the committee is that we need to bring in new membership, new leadership into the organization. Look around the room. Organizations that don't bring in younger people won't survive in the long term. It's vitally important to this association. As we started to develop the information for the leadership presentations, we recognized that there were a number of young leaders already in the state active, and we need to recognize those and encourage them. And that was the reason for the development of this Next Generation Leadership Award. The other effort that the Next Generation Leadership, Reaching the Next Generation Committee is making is the establishment of the Next Generation Advisory Committee, which will work with the State Association and the Reaching the Next Generation Committee to develop our programs and to advise us as to how they should be done. So back to the award itself. Again, this is the first year of it. We had 2 nominations for this year. Hopefully we'll have many more in the future. Again, we have young leaders. Please nominate them. But the first award of the Next Generation Leadership Award is going to Clyde Johnston of the Sudlersville Volunteer Fire Company.
John, did you say Kyle?
Kyle.
You said Kyle.
Kyle. C-Y.
Kyle. Yes.
Was it clear?
It sounded different. That's okay.
It may not have been clear. Kyle is Kyle Johnston.
Teresa Ann Chrisman for our fire prevention. And not sure where Teresa's coming from. Can I ask for our fire ambassadors, if you're out there, the young ladies and little fire chiefs, any of you are out there, come up, please.
There you go. Here, so we can get out of there. There you go. Are we good? Snuggle in. You're waiting on us. Come on.
Presidents, officers, delegates, distinguished guests, firefighters, emergency medical personnel, the auxiliary, and everyone in their respective fire companies and rescue squads across this great state of Maryland, the Board of Trustees of the 109-year-old Silver Spring Volunteer Fire Department and its members welcome you to the 132nd Maryland State Firemen's Association. My name is Mark Perlman, and I'm a trustee and member of the Life Safety Unit. I have the honor of addressing this convention, recognizing the men and women as firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, IV techs, and auxiliary members who stand tall in service to the citizens of this great state of Maryland. Before getting started, I do have some sad news to pass on. We're deeply saddened to relay the passing of our beloved friend and colleague, Bert Brenner. Bert was not just a member of our department, but was the heart of our organization with 66 years of experience with the Silver Spring Fire Department. He served as president, vice president of the board of trustees for many years. Bert's dedication was unparalleled. Bert's journey with the Silver Spring Volunteer Fire Department was one of unwavering devotion. His love for the department and the community it serves was evident in every action he took. His involvement in official functions and his annual presentation of the Silver Spring Fire Prevention Award during the MSFA conference and convention in Ocean City highlighted his dedication and leadership. In 1978, Bert was honored with life membership in recognizing his long-standing service to the department. This was just one testament to the depth of his involvement and the impact that he made. But Bert's contributions extended far beyond the confines of our station. He was a pillar of strength in our community and held in high regard by all who had the privilege of knowing him. His commitment to the excellence extended to every aspect of his life, whether it was serving his customers or supporting his community. Even as the years passed, Bert remained deeply involved, transitioning to the life safety unit and extending his assistance to neighboring departments. His legacy of service and dedication will continue to inspire generations to come, a testament to the remarkable person that he was. As we mourn the loss of Bert, we extend our deepest sympathies to his families, friends, and colleagues. His absence leaves a void in our hearts and our organization that can never be filled. But let us take comfort in the memories we shared, the lessons he taught us, and the legacy he leaves behind. Bert will be truly missed, and his spirit will live on in the Silver Spring Volunteer Fire Department. Like the legacy that Bert has left behind, the Silver Spring Trophy for Fire Prevention Excellence was drawn from the efforts of those who have come before. And they are remembered for their contributions to fire prevention. The Silver Spring Trophy was the department's decades-long involvement and commitment to fire prevention in public education. Starting in the 1940s and on into the 50s and 60s, we had Silver Spring Fire Department had their own fire marshal. In the 60s, Dave Gratz and Mel Harris became very active in fire prevention and were the proponents for creating the Silver Spring Fire Prevention Trophy. They believed that fire prevention was a part of everyone's duties. Silver Spring Fire Prevention Trophy recognizes the highest achievements in the field of fire prevention as judged by their peers. The trophy symbolizes what we strive to do in the field of fire prevention in every community of our state. The Silver Spring Trophy singles out outstanding member of the fire department or rescue squad who deserves recognition for efforts in the year of 2023. We recognize these efforts with fresh, new, innovative ideas which bring credit to the fire service and respect to the fire company and give honor to our state association. This year, we're honored to present this trophy to a man who's made it his mission to educate anyone who's willing to learn hands-only CPR, stop the bleed. No matter what he is teaching, he will reference his trilogy of home fire safety, working alarms, sprinklers, and close before you doze. This year's nominee is a career captain in Frederick County, celebrating his 25th year. He is Assistant Chief of the Junior Fire Company No. 2, and gives us great pleasure to present to this convention the winner of the 2023 Silver Spring Trophy for Fire Prevention Excellence from Frederick, Maryland, Timothy Shelton of Junior Fire Company No. 2. Special thanks to the Fire Prevention Committee and the State Fire Marshal, their staff, and the committee for selecting today's fire prevention winner. I hope your fire company can find the effort and time to submit their department's fire prevention committee or representative worthy of applying to this prestigious award. Thank you very much for your kind attention this morning. Have a great convention, and let's have some innovative contributions to fire prevention program in 2025 for the year 2024.
Yep, I'm good for right now. Hey, Joe, can you put that back up, please? Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm the best part of this convention, fire prevention. So just I'd like to say thank you to everybody that submitted this year. We had great amounts. Those submitting in Region 1, Class 1 was Sudlersville Volunteer Fire Company, Benedict Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad. Region 2, Class 2, Potomac Fire Company, number 2, United Communities Volunteer Fire Department. Region Class 3 was Jefferson Volunteer Fire Company, Newburgh Volunteer Rescue Squad and Fire Department, Potomac Heights Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, Solomon's Island Volunteer Rescue Squad and Fire Department. Region Class 4 was Ridge Volunteer Fire Department, 2nd District Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, Junior Fire Company. Region Class 5 was Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department, Bay District Volunteer Fire Department, Citizens Truck Company, number 4, and Bladensburg Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, number 1. There was no career entry departments for Class 6. In Class 7, we had one from the Frederick County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. So for single year, we're going to start with Region 1 was Benedict Volunteer Fire Department Rescue Squad, the Trunk or Treat program. So if you're in the room, please come up. Moving forward, Class 2 was Potomac Fire Company, number 2, their program book, and United Communities Volunteer Fire Department Fire Prevention Poster and Open House. Region Class 4, no entries for Class 3, I'm sorry. Region Class 4 was the Ridge Volunteer Fire Department Chili Cook-Off. And when you come up, your books are on the table too. Region Class 5 was Bay District Volunteer Fire Department. They placed first place. Region Class 5 Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department, second place. In Class 5 Bladensburg Volunteer Fire Department Rescue Squad program book, third place. Again, there was no open for Class 6, but Class 7 was the Frederick County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association's The Ambassadors Program. Congratulations, everybody, for the single entries. And then take your book when you're up.
You put me in for going up the chairs, Gary. I told myself, I wish I liked to have been prepared, you know. Now I got good fun to trust.
You'll be fine. Just to let you all know, the Silver Spring entries were judged by the Washington, D.C. Office of the Fire Marshal. They were judged a couple of weeks ago, and they were very, very pleased with all the entries. We had 7 in total, so it was a great year for Silver Spring. So please find that person, find that spark, and please enter when you can. The next round is year-round entries. First place is Region Class 1 is Sudlersville Volunteer Fire Company. There was no Class 2 entry. Class 3, first place was Newburgh Volunteer Rescue Squad and Fire Department. Second place was Potomac Heights Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad. Third place was Solomon's Island Volunteer Rescue Squad and Fire Department. And fourth place was Jefferson Volunteer Fire Company. Region Class 4, first place was the Ridge Volunteer Fire Department. Second place was 2nd District Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad. And third place was Junior Fire Company. Region Class 5, first place was Bay District Volunteer Fire Department. Second place was Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department. Third place was Citizens Truck Company number 4. Again, there was no career entries in Class 5, or 6, I'm sorry, can't speak today. And then Region Class 7 was County Fire Prevention Committees, was the Frederick County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association taking first place. And I have my report to give.
Sweet. Okay, so you're 5 days?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. All right, so just to let you all know, the people that judge these awards this year, don't go nowhere, we're not done yet. This year, just to let everybody know, the Fort Valley Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad Incorporated in Fort Valley, Virginia did the judging. The ladies there were very impressed with the books. They had a very hard time deciding who was in each category. It made it easy at times, but very hard and very difficult. They do love the chili cook-off idea, so Ridge, congratulations. I think you all should bottle that program, present it, and that would be a great way to get people in your community. So the overall winners, I'm going to start with the lowest place first to drum up some business. Because of the way they scored things, we went down to the 5th place. So in 5th place is just no in order. Citizens Truck Company number 4, Jefferson Volunteer Fire Company, Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department, Potomac Heights Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, and Solomon's Island Rescue Squad and Fire Department. In 4th place was the Benedict Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad, the Bladensburg Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad number 1, United Communities Volunteer Fire Department, and the 2nd District Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad. In third place was Mechanicsville Volunteer Fire Department, Potomac Fire Company number 2, Sudlersville Volunteer Fire Company, and Junior Fire Company. In second place was Bay District Volunteer Fire Department and the Ridge Volunteer Fire Department. And overall, first place was the Frederick County, Maryland Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. Thank you guys for all your hard work and dedication to fire prevention. That greatly supports us. To let you all know, this is what we also have coming to you. We met with the NFPA. Each of you all will get the new fire prevention program format for this year. It's a $600 valued box with all sorts of stuff. They are actually adding more stuff to you guys. So I don't know what's in the box. I met with them on Saturday and Sunday, and Lorraine Carley is probably getting all that together, and I met with Amy, so we'll finalize that. They'll be going to you guys in your name, and then you'll get a piece of paper in that box saying that was for the Fire Prevention Life Safety Awards. So thank you all very, very much, and I greatly appreciate all the hard work that you guys do for fire prevention. Thank you. I'm just going to do my quick update so everybody knows what's going on, what they're doing, their certificates. Again, congratulations to Tim Shelton. I had to tell Tim that Kim was getting an award, but then I kind of had the guys that we were getting something from Mid-Atlantic, and we kind of needed all the committee members here. So congratulations, Tim. So these are the different classifications, as you know. It's on the website. If you need anything, please let me know, and we'll help you get your program started if you don't know where to begin. Again, last year we did the fire prevention and life safety grants. I'm waiting to find out Thursday at the executive board meeting how much money we will actually be able to spend this year, how many we're allowed. We did put the bug in, so hopefully we'll be able to do something. Once I know, we'll put a massive email out to everybody so that you know that you can do it. We had 89 departments last year submit, and it's a great avenue for the $100 that was able to be turned back in. And this from the key people, just to get this going for you guys, from the NFPA. As you know, this year's message is October 6th through the 12th. The national message this year are smoke alarms. Make those work for you. And the biggest thing with that aspect is to ensure that, one, you all should realize, or have you not known yet, the code is actually changing at the end of this year. It was supposed to actually change in 2019. But due to issues of the pandemic in the 2020 year, they were not able to facilitate the need for these smoke alarms to get the internal chip that was necessary. Plus, where this chip was being created, had a major fire in that factory, so they were behind. So I do know that First Alert and Kidda are the first ones with the Generation 8 smoke alarm out there. I have not heard it yet. They're going to actually make a video for everybody so you know the sounds. I do know the next generation part of the smoke alarm is supposed to go to a foghorn sounding. We don't know when that's going to happen yet. That's a little bit more controversial in spoke because of the way that alarm has to be built. It's not going to be very pleasing to the eye as to some builders. We don't know what's going on, but the battery is going to be a little bit bigger, so it's not as flush to the ceiling. I'm not quite sure. It could be almost 6 inches in width and length, so we don't know yet, so we're waiting to find out, even if they're going to do that. They do know that people are not waking up to smoke alarms, so that's why they push this message again. The NFPA was on a 5-year plan of programming, and because of COVID, they found that some of the programs were more important to bring forward. So now they're coming to try to get back onto that realm of doing things. What happened? Oh, I remember. So these are some of the toolkits that you can see on the new website for them, the FPW site. You can go there now and you can actually download all the information and the graphics there. And then just to let you know, Sparky Schoolhouse had a major overhaul during the summer, and they have a lot of the nuances. You can actually go to sparky.org and you can see the fire prevention message that was released on Monday at 10:30. Vision 2020, we're currently working with them for Young Minds Inspired. So far, we've received about 2,000 smoke alarms that have been given out to different areas of the state that have low-income families that meet a certain Title I school. So we have Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Montgomery County, parts of Prince George's, and Howard have received those alarms through Vision 2020. And then the program that we're working with them is It's this safety patrol aspect. It's a great program. It's now available to the fire service. So we've put that out a couple of times, but I think we need to redo another refresh so that you guys can see this. It's inspired by Young Minds Inspired out of Michigan, and through a grant through FEMA, they've been able to get a lot of these toolkits out there. So we were told that every school teacher, 2nd and 3rd grade in the country, got these kits. We're having a hard time for Maryland to validate that, so we don't know if they have or not. So if you have a teacher in your department that's in the 2nd or 3rd grade, hey, ask them. So that's another way we're trying to find out, because we want to make sure all this stuff got out to them. Because it's incorporating the teachers' teaching tools and being able to work with the fire service to bring fire prevention. And then from the United States Fire Administration, this is a big thing, a big game changer for fire prevention and life safety, especially community risk reduction. We know that NERIS is coming. We don't, I guess 2025 is when it's supposed to be released, but hopefully there's going to be an area so that when you go to doing a smoke alarm install, you can actually put this in the NERIS program, and then you can actually know when all the smoke alarms and everything that you're doing as a community, you can run that report and not have to worry about it. And that gives you the ability to understand what's going on in your community. So once we find out what's going on with that, there's a couple beta testers. There's 6 departments right now across the country. The closest one to us is Fairfax. I know the lady that's the community risk reduction educator there, and I asked her about some of the things that she's putting in, and she says it's working great for them. So every community event, she's allowed to put all this information in. So at the end of the month, she runs a report. It gives her how many people they've touched, how many people they've been able to help, how many smoke alarms, even in the homes. So you can pin drop a location. So that's a great thing that's coming. And then America Burning, they're asking us again to talk about America Burning, because since the anniversary a couple of years ago, there's many poignant issues here. They are actually working on another version of this right now to update some of the information that's out there and the categories. Now, we did meet on Saturday with one of the NFPA research techs, and she told us that along with NERIS, hopefully the reports that they have will be a lot smoother and faster. They know that Safer Cigarette report, it was done 6 years ago, so they know they have work to do. So hopefully with the new programs, they'll be able to update some of these programs faster. And then just some of those things there. The biggest thing I want to talk about is community risk reduction weekends. This past May, we did a great effort across the state. Next one is October 19th and 26th. That's 20th, I'm sorry, I can't see today. So please get with your state fire marshal's office if you have one in that region, plus your local. So you have the state side and then your county side, if your county has it. Get out there and try to do as much smoke alarms as possible. We put the information out, but we want everybody to try to make that effort to at least walk your community. You don't have to do a full day's event. You don't have to do the whole weekend, but just pick an area that you know that might need something and go and install smoke alarms where you can. And it doesn't have to be smoke alarms. It could be community events. It could be anywhere that you can make a difference in your community to work something out. So we're looking at all different areas there. And then the training that we have last is the 2 big things that we have, just to let everybody know. Mid-Atlantic Life Safety Conference, that is being begun as a 2-day seminar now. It's Sunday, November 3rd, Monday, November 4th, and it's at the BWI Marriott. We're actively working on that too. Just to let you know, it's going to be a $150 sponsorship, $150 entry fee, I'm sorry. But we're working on some things, so the price is coming out, but just watch for those. And then again, our Fire Prevention and Life Safety Educator Program, which is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025. That's always at Mifflin and College Park. Please attend if you can. We can hold up to 100 people. Our mission is to get as many people there. We have to be safe, but if we have to move a location to accommodate more people, there's plenty of places out there we'll do this. It's always been historically at College Park, but you know, if we want to move this around the state, offer us the room, whatever, and we'll make this happen. But it's ultimately the ability of you all driving this program. So please engage if you can. And again, thank you. This is the last slide, but again, thank you all very, very much, and I greatly appreciate all the effort and the support. Thank you, President Eric, for all the things that you did for us this year. And also from the legislative side, thank you. A lot of the things that we do in the legislative side, to me, spark some of the things that we can do for fire prevention and life safety. We do know that we had several bills that affected that. So that's something that we have to think about and talk about later. But ultimately, this committee works for you all. We try to do as much as for you all as possible. And if there's anything that you'd like to be a part of, please come and join the Fire Prevention Committee. I'm always looking for new members. Thank you.
Thank you to our fire prevention ambassadors. Those ladies do really good work going around the state, as Teresa said. I don't believe so. Before these young ladies run off, yesterday they had their fire ambassador contest yesterday, if I can get my words right here. And these are our new ambassadors. So I'm going to let these young ladies introduce themselves, and they have a little bit of a fire prevention message for each and every one of us. But as I was saying before, you know, these young ladies, they travel around with the presidents, not only for LAMSA, but MSFA. And when we ask them to do something for us, they're right on it. You couldn't ask for a better group of young women to echo our sentiments across this state about fire prevention and life safety. And one of my messages under my term this past year, was we really need to get our numbers of deaths down in the state. For a small state, we had 81 fire-related deaths. There is no way in heck that should be happening in the state of Maryland. So we got a little bit of work to do for sprinklers and so forth, because a lot of those deaths could have been preventable had people had a smoke detector or a sprinkler in a home. They could have gotten out, but that didn't happen. So I know these young ladies and the next leadership will certainly help work on that with our Fire Prevention Life Safety Committee, and I know these young ladies are committed to that. So let's give them a big round of applause, and I'll let these young ladies introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, I am Madeline Mahan and I am the 2024 MSFA Miss Fire Prevention. I'm very excited to serve you all this year and see what we can do for all the communities in Maryland. I'm hoping to visit all 23 counties within this next year, so if all of you can help me make this possible by giving me business cards, any resources that you have for me, please do. I'm willing to help as long as I know about you and I have your resources. My tip to you guys right now as we start off this year is that older adults over the age of 65 are at 2.5 higher risk than everybody else. That is double the risk. This risk has not gone down ever. The youth risk has gone down before and has actually been decreased to 60% less than the general population due to fire prevention in the last few years. That's incredible. I would like to see the same thing happen for that specialty population. Most of this can come from our smoke alarms and any other resources that are provided for fire prevention. So please reach out to your community, any centers, any homes, any locations in your counties that might be poverty-stricken that do not have the feasibility to have these alarms. Please reach out to them, and if you need help getting them these alarms, let me know. Thank you, guys.
Good deal. Just stay out there. All right, we put this down. There you go.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. My name is Caitlin Lugano. I am your new MSFA Miss Fire Prevention First Runner-Up for 2024-2025. My fire prevention tip for you guys tonight is that you are checking your smoke alarms and smoke NCO detectors monthly, along with practicing your escape routes. Escape routes are not just for the home, they should be in every location that you go to. You should know at least 2 ways out of every building or event that you are at. Thank you.
Big round of applause for these young ladies. They do really great work, so thank you, ladies, and good luck in your reign.
Thank you.
All right.
Just try to keep it sweet. My voice gave out.
And I will bring Mr. Rick Kemple out with our election results. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. President. The reported election judges for 2024. There were a total of 334 companies in good standing as recorded by the Secretary. The Credential Committee reported 231 of those companies in good standing are registered at the convention, and a total of 20 past presidents. The following officers were unopposed and elected by a single ballot cast by the Office of Secretary: President W. Newton Skip Carey Jr., First Vice President Charles J. Simpson Jr., Second Vice President William Foss, Treasurer Ron Sarnicki, Chief Chaplain John Long Jr. The results of the election of trustee: Joel McCrae, 634 votes, Harv Woods, 404 votes. Joel McCrae is the new trustee. This year we also had 2 proposed constitutional changes, the results of the amendments to the Constitution. Question 1, name change the association to Maryland State Firefighters Association. 734 voted yes for 69% total. 325 for 31% voted against. That amendment passes. Okay. Question number 2, the eligibility of officers and appointees. For was 800, against 200, so 80% for, 20% against. Amendment number 2 also passed. This concludes the report of the election judges. Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow. You know, this is being the 132nd Maryland State Firemen's Convention. It's been a great honor for me to be able to represent each and every one of you over my last 3 years coming up through the presidential chairs. We've accomplished a lot legislatively. All of our initiatives that, as you heard, have passed. So under the new leadership of Skip Carey, we will have an official name change. It took us a long while to get there, but it's the right thing to do for our organization when you look around at our other organizations. And I know there's some angst about that, but it was time. We need to be representative of each and every member of our department. I mentioned in the beginning when I opened this up in session that I have a partnership with our Ladies Auxiliary downstairs. And President Jean Main has really stepped up to the plate. As I've said before, she never walked behind me, she stood beside me, as well as her junior and senior vice president and coming presidents. They're great to work with. The Ladies Auxiliary, we really need to make sure that when we go to our different association meetings that we are echoing our sentiments, not only for our auxiliaries, both the men and women that are in the auxiliaries, but we try to bring at least one new member to our fold. We don't get them like we used to 4, 5, 6 at a time. We're getting them one at a time. We realize that today's age with the youth today, if it's not on a computer, it doesn't happen, or Facebook, or X, or whatever, Instagram, Snapchat. They're not the ones that's going to show up to your front door when you dial 911 and ask to put out your fire or save a life. It's going to be us. And if each and every one of us can reach back behind us and bring one person, then we grow. That was my initiative when I started. We have a pretty good, robust recruitment and retention effort going forward now. We're reaching out into each and every county. I would encourage you to reach out to the men and women in your departments. And even if you don't have a recruiter in your department, somebody at least take the lead and get something started. And we're willing to help you. We certainly have a SAFER grant that's available to each and every one of you out there. So we did the tents as well as the tablecloths this year and last year. I believe that'll come back next year. Highlight your department. Put your brand out there when you have fundraisers, social events, community events. Hang your banner, because that's what people want to see. We're also going to continue our cancer initiatives as we go forward, as well as our mental health. Each and every one of us deserves to go home, but we cannot sit home and suffer in silence because we saw something horrific in our jobs. But that's the world that we live in. But if you're sitting home suffering in silence, we can't help you. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you need help. So I would encourage you to go back and talk to your departments. If someone needs help, we have the resources in this state. I did it for 37 years with the Maryland State Police Aviation Command. I ran their program. I know what the men and women see out here on a daily basis, and it's tough. And then we have to go home to our families. If it's not a healthcare provider or a psychologist that you need, at least talk to someone in your department, especially our military folks. We shouldn't be losing folks to suicide out here in our department, because we have help and resources available. So please don't suffer in silence. I was very lucky with the folks that were willing to be a part of my team this year. First Vice President Skip Carey, he's an older brother to me. And we kid around a lot, we joke a lot, but we got a lot done. And he was always willing to have an ear to be able to listen and help guide me when I needed assistance. And he is going to be an excellent, excellent president for our organization going forward, and I wish him nothing but the best. First, second vice president, now our first vice president, Charlie Simpson. He's another guy that was on my team, and it was excellent to have him as well. He's going to be an excellent first vice president going forward. He knows the EMS arena and the fire service pretty well, and we're going to be in good hands going forward. Also, through my executive board members and my chairpersons of each committee, can't do the work independently without you. There's a lot of moving parts. Some days I had always said, and just joking with it, it was like herding cats some days, but it was all good. We work cohesively to get our initiatives across this state done, and as we have the help from the partnerships of our legislators and to move us forward. So I want to say on behalf of each and every one of you, thank you for your support. Even though my time is winding down, I think I probably got about 7 hours left. It's been my pleasure and honor to be able to work and serve and be your president over the last year. And I bid you all good tidings, safe travels on your way back home. And with that, I'm going to bring out our chaplain for our benediction. So thank you.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, we are so grateful for your direction and guidance this past week, Father, and this morning during the elections, Father. We just thank you for that. Father, we thank you for this time together, and Father, as we separate this now for this afternoon, we ask you to be with us in our fellowship with each other, Father, and be with us this evening as we do the installation of officers. Father, we ask this all in your precious name. Amen.
Just a reminder, our prayer breakfast is tomorrow at the American Legion at 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock at the American Legion, and I will recess in our session until 9 o'clock.
Sign you in.